Peter Pan lived in a magical place called Neverland. Every evening, he and his fairy Tinkerbell would leave Neverland and listen to Wendy Darling tell stories to her brothers, John and Michael, from outside her window. As he was listening one night, Peter's shadow went missing, and he was forced to search Wendy's bedroom. Once his shadow was found, Wendy kindly sewed it back on for him. Peter was so grateful that he asked if Wendy and her brothers would join him on an adventure. Soon, they were flying over the rooftops on their way to Neverland. After a while, they reached the beautiful island of Neverland with its tall trees and snow-capped mountains. As they approached, a ship belonging to the evil pirate Captain Hook began firing cannonballs into the sky. Wendy lost her balance as she dodged the cannonballs and tumbled through the sky towards the island below. Peter swooped down after her and thankfully caught her just in time. Together, they flew into the clouds and between the mountains to avoid Hook's cannonballs before landing safely in Neverland. When they arrived, Peter introduced Wendy and her brothers to the group of boys who lived on the island known as the Lost Boys. Peter built them a beautiful tree house to live in, and Wendy would tell her stories every night. The Lost Boys loved to hear Wendy's stories and asked if she would be their mother, to which she agreed. Soon, Wendy and her brothers were having so much fun in Neverland that they forgot all about their parents in London. One dreadful night, Captain Hook crept into Peter's home and kidnapped the Lost Boys, Wendy and her brothers. Hook locked the Lost Boys in a cabin on his ship and tied poor Wendy, John, and Michael to the mast. Peter slept on a high branch that night and did not wake until the morning. Once Tinkerbell had told Peter what had happened to his friends, he quickly came up with a plan to rescue them and headed straight for Captain Hook's ship. On his way to the ship, Peter came across the ferocious crocodile who had once bitten off Hook's hand. The crocodile made a ticking noise from previous swallowing a clock, and Hook was terrified by the sound. When Peter reached the ship, he mimicked the crocodile's familiar ticking noise, causing Hook and his crew to run in fear as Peter freed his friends. When Hook realized he had been tricked, he drew his sword and went to fight Peter as the waves crashed against the ship. Hook lost his balance and fell into the waiting jaws of the ticking crocodile. After such a commotion, Wendy and her brothers decided it was time to return home to London. The lost boys came with them, but Peter wished to stay in Neverland. Wendy's parents were overjoyed to see their 3 children and welcomed the lost boys into their home. As the children were telling their parents about their adventures in Neverland, Wendy spotted Peter at the window. He waved goodbye to her before flying off into the night sky. The end.